tests show that as we age, there tends to be a decline in short-term memory performance. Now, of course, these are statistics and averages, and they don't mean that all people of the same age have the exact same memory ability. For some people, short-term memory is never a problem, even into their old age. Nevertheless, the experts say there is a pattern, and that is that the older we are, the more likely we are to forget. To see for ourselves, I volunteered to have my short-term memory tested, representing the elders of America at age 76, as did two of my ABC News colleagues, producer Peter Bull at 44, representing the baby boomers, and associate producer Joel Engardio, representing Generation X at age 25. Dr. Susan DeSanti at New York University gave us the test. One part of it involved word pairs. Here's part of the test. You might want to play along.
Now I'm going to read you pairs of words. I'd like you to remember the words that pair together, because when I'm done, I'm going to read one of the words in the pair, and I'll ask you to tell me the other. Cup, smile. Tree, cold. House, book.
Dr. DeSanti then moved on to other sections of the test, in part to distract us. Distraction and delay are critical in testing short-term memory, because it's not instant recall which is affected by age, but delayed recall. So we'll delay a few minutes before giving the answers. Dr. DeSanti predicts, based on our ages, that there will be a difference in our recall rate. That's because, as shocking as this may seem, the entire brain actually begins to shrink a little as early as your 40s.
By 50 years of age, it's very apparent to see the aging effect in the brain.
To help Dr. De Leon illustrate this point, I agreed to undergo an MRI, a magnetic resonance imaging test, to have an actual picture taken of my brain. Peter Bull and Joel Engardio agreed to do the same.
How are you doing, Joel?
Good.
Okay, very good. I'm going to set up for the next one now.
Dr. De Leon told us that if our brains are typical, the MRI scans will show differences in brain sizes. What interests him and his team most on their journey inside our brains is the hippocampus. There's one on the right and one on the left. Crucial in short-term memory, the hippocampi function like distribution centers, sending new information to the correct part of the brain to be stored. And what did they see when they checked out our hippocampi?
We found 3 very healthy individuals. We found 3 brains that were showing their age, but that's a normal thing to show.
Oh, this is all of us, huh? Yeah.
Yes. And so here you see in red, the hippocampi have been drawn in, and you can see how Joel at 25 has these rather plump red areas showing this very full, robust hippocampus, whereas Peter at 44 is showing a very normal-looking hippocampus, but it's just a little bit smaller. And you at 76 shows a very little change relative to Peter.
I'll settle for that.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I am happy about that. Nonetheless, my hippocampi are smaller than Joel's and Peter's, and that's a normal part of aging, say the experts. Well, it certainly seems like time to see how our different-sized brains have done on the memory test. See how much you can remember.
What went with cup?
Smile.
Yes. What did I say with tree?
Cold.
Yes. What went with house?
Book.
Yes.
The results, Generation X won with a score of 10. Peter and I both earned scores of 9. And on another part of the test, we were asked to recall entire paragraphs of information.
Okay, New York, September 28.
The Century Theater on Columbus Street.
Actors and actresses.
Again, Joel remembered the most, earning a score of 13.5. Peter's score was 11.5, and mine was 10.5. Results which fit in with our age differences. Not necessarily the kind of news people over 40 like to hear. But before you resort to any extreme measures, it's important to get some perspective here. Just because you're aging doesn't mean you can't function perfectly well. Most short-term memory lapses are simply annoying, so there's no need to start shopping for a new brain.